when you already have thyroid antibodies that are high, that's already inflamed the body. Of course, if you're going to sleep lesser, it's going to worsen your state. Of course, if you're going to stress higher, it's going to worsen your state. If you don't sleep well, you don't think well. The fact that if we feel bloated, we get a headache, we feel gassy, we feel all of that basically is telling us there is an imbalance in the body. Food is information to the body. It literally determines the quality of your cells, your tissues, your blood, your organs. The very fact that we are food chemistry कर रहे हैं, when we are doing our blood work, how do you know your cholesterol levels are? How do you know you have SGPT or SGOT high? How do you know the ESR is gone high? Right? Everything is related to what you eat, because the most intimate relationship that you share with anybody or anything in the world is your food.
Functional medicine nutritionist and a lifestyle educator. Our guest today on the Settle or Be Better podcast is Karishma Chawla. It's going to be talking to us about inflammation, gut health, and lifestyle changes. So, welcome Karishma ma'am, and over to you. Why don't you begin by telling us a little bit about your personal health and well-being story and your current work?
Thank you so much for this warm welcome. Okay, before I actually get into, what my story is, let me just make this very simple, because when we use the term functional medicine, it just seems like a very heavy, bhari work, right? And what exactly she's going to talk about, because we don't even know what nutrition is coming from there. So in the most simple words, your functional medicine is just a fancy name for natural medicine. So when we say natural medicine, then we are tilting towards more remedial kind of stuff. So for example, we basically use food as medicine, lifestyle tools, and we use supplements and a lot of food that actually helps us to heal. Okay, so in simple words, we attach functional medicine with gut. When you just mentioned about the gut, right? So you must have heard of this in Ayurveda or any naturopathy, when they say, okay, when you want to feel well, you basically have to increase the digestive agni of the gut. So we are basically in functional medicine, that's all we are doing. You come to us with a symptom, we give you symptom relief with whatever we diagnose, we go to play detective, go to the root cause, and then we'll basically start facilitating the healing process from there. And that's how you will be a sustainable healing growth with us.
That was beautifully explained, because people do have a lot of doubts and they're not really educated about what functional medicine is. It's great to have people like you who are out there spreading the awareness and educating people, because it is important today, because we've forgotten what the natural remedies look like. We've forgotten probably what our ancestors tried to pass on to us, because we want a quick fix. And anything, if we have a viral, if we have anything, the first thing we turn to is the medicines, right? Like we don't even visit the doctor anymore. We just go to the medical store and we ask that person, we have this, can you just give me something, because I want to get rid of it, right? And that really in the long run does affect our gut health and so many more things, right, that we don't understand. So what are some of the common issues that people usually come up with to you, and maybe they've not been able to fix it with medicines or something like that, and then with you, when they come and do this nutrition change and lifestyle change, it really helps them, like they can see the changes that they haven't seen before.
Okay, before I get into my work and how we can kind of help people with their healing journeys, just one thing is just very simple and clear, that at no place we are saying that medicines shouldn't be used. We say whenever you have an acute infection, still go to your GP, you still go to your doctor. Whenever that you come up with some kind of abdominal pain and just it's been for a long time and you don't know what to do, you may visit a gastroenterologist. What we are saying with functional medicine is something is chronic, right? So you could go to your doctor, you fix your medications, will that person feel better? But it is chronic, so you can't keep doing that medication multiple times. That's when you come to a functional medicine nutrition, because we are basically getting back to the basics.
Right.
And there was this entire conversation with our grandmothers, right? The grandmother, if you would go to them earlier and say that you're not feeling well, she would always say, did you sleep well? Did you eat well? Did you poop well?
Right.
Okay, and these are the questions that we are trained to talk about, because ये कोई देख ही नहीं रहा है. Like for example, there are a lot of people who come to us and they will easily tell you the entire diet recall, what they're having the entire day. The minute you have, let's have a poop talk, it's like a taboo. It's like they're uncomfortable with it. They're not okay with it.
Right.
It is key, if you are going to take so much time to figure which restaurant you want to go and eat all the lovely stuff, have you ever looked into your pot? How does that look like? Right? So that's where health is.
True.
So that is the most important thing. So regardless of the fact that we are doing functional medicine and we are probably in the mission to heal the world, but we are working in tandem with all the other healthcare practitioners. It's just that we're just going a little more deeper stuff. So we are empowering the client in order to take better decisions. So coming to your question, when you said what kind of people come to us, so being a nutritionist, the first thing that everybody came to us is always weight loss, muscle gain.
Right.
In the entire journey of the last 6-7 years since I got into this whole gut and functional functional medicine, we started realizing that most of them have gut issues and they have inflammation.
Right.
That's the cause of their weight gain. And so whatever they're doing in terms of your diet, which is calorie in and calorie out, and then they are exercising, they still don't reach resolution to the desired weight, because here the missing puzzle, the missing link was inflammation. So I think that is where functional medicine comes in, because you can have inflammation in your gut, which can be systematically carried through the blood, and then suddenly you find yourself bloated and heavy and you don't feel great in your body. You could have inflammation because your hormones have gone for a toss. You could be on the best diet and supplements, but love, if you're not taking care of your sleep, you're not taking care of your stress levels, of course there's going to be inflammation in the body. Right? So most of the symptoms that people come to us, and we know where we need to go, people come to us with joint pain, inflammation, mitochondrial inflammation, skin eruptions. That's got to do with your gut. There is weight gain. There can be cravings and mood swings. So they're all, again, a very holistic way to look at everything. So we look at everybody's symptoms, and more importantly, in our field, we are listening to your story. You're going to tell me what you feel. You're going to go back and tell me how you were as a child, how you were an adolescent, and today you're an adult, what you're feeling, and we have to find that missing puzzle for you in order to heal.
Understood. That was beautifully explained. Thank you for sharing that, and that definitely clarifies a lot of it for us. Like you said, to begin with, let's start by understanding inflammation, because I don't think a lot of people really understand what it is. I mean, it gets talked about a little bit here and there. Maybe someone would say that you are facing this issue because you might be inflamed, you might have inflammation. You always hear about things like anti-inflammatory foods, anti-inflammatory supplements, but what is it really? What does inflammation look like in our body? And what are the signs that we are missing out on when we think that we might be suffering through inflammation?
So all the symptoms that I told you, the joint pain, your mood swings, your skin eruptions, all of them are basically signs of inflammation. Now let's decipher inflammation, right? I'll do this with an example for you, with 2 examples, and it'll get easier. So number 1, remember, there's weight gain, right? So people say that, and I don't seem to lose, I've done all the possible diets, I don't seem to lose any weight. Okay, go back with their diet, recall their history, everything, and then we suddenly realize they've got bloating, acid reflux, constipation. Now when you have constipation, just imagine the amount of toxins that are going to build up in your body. Okay, now in your gut there is toxins, 100% there'll be inflammation. Okay, there are certain cells in your gut, they will also get inflamed.
Right.
Then the same blood which is got inflamed there is going to go from your gut to your liver. They will inflame your liver also. From the liver, it'll go systematically through your body. It's all got inflammation. Now you come back to the question, according to me, I'm eating well, I'm exercising, how am I not tending to lose weight? If your cells are inflamed, they're resistant to burning. It's all gone.
Right.
So the frustration is not that you're not doing anything, you are doing something, but you're still looking at calories in and calorie out. So when people come to us and they tell us, you've given me this diet plan, how much is the calorie count? We do not even get into it, because they're not looking at you as simple. They're not looking at just fixing you.
Right.
Getting healing. So then we know that they have acid reflux, bloating, gas, constipation. That is the inflammation.
Right.
It's causing the weight gain, or it is causing resistant weight loss. So we start healing that. That's where your anti-inflammatory food will come in. Your anti-inflammatory supplements will come. Now let me make it very simple. Your anti-inflammatory foods is not some magical foods. वो हमारे simple घर का खाना जो तुम्हारे kitchen में रहता है वो ही है. Your inflammatory foods are basically your sugar, your processed foods, fried foods, and it may pinch somebody, but I would also say gluten and dairy are your inflammatory foods. Completely a no. So when people tell me, when they come to me, you're going to put me on a gluten-free diet, I'm like 110%. But they're not a vegetarian people, right? And they try.
Right.
So then the question is it going to be sustainable? So the answer is yes and a no. It all depends how badly you want it. So for example, you're with me for 3 months, 6 months. We drop all the inflammation down. You're feeling great in your body. Okay, we'll reintroduce the gluten and see how your body feels. If the body is accepting it, it's not rejecting it, I wouldn't put that in a general lifestyle through the day. I would say, because you're a vegetarian, you're going to travel, you may need to take gluten sometime. That's your lifestyle. So your general irritants are your gluten, dairy, soy, sugar, processed foods. In some cases, we also need to remove eggs and nuts.
Mhm.
So this is where your food sensitivities and your food allergies come in place. And of course,
Right.
they are again stemming out of a leaky gut. That means if this is your gut, should not have any holes. But your leaky gut has holes. So suddenly, instead of just the blood passing through with vitamins, your food molecules are passing through.
Right.
And suddenly you know, okay, when I'm feeling bloated, this food is not working for me. That's causing inflammation.
Right.
So that's where, so maybe your food allergies, gut irritants, leaky gut may sound very fancy, but it is just simple. If you give your body the simple needs that it's asking for, you will not have a leaky gut. That's
Right.
you will not have inflammation.
Understood. That was beautiful, because today we really need to understand bio-individuality when it comes to food and nutrition.
Yes.
Because we might just go on Instagram and this random person is talking about I've been on this anti-inflammatory anti-inflammatory diet, and this is what I've been eating, what I eat on a day, these kind of vlogs, and we get influenced, and we tend to follow that. It's not working out for us, because really what works for someone else might not work for you, and that's why it's important to come and consult with people like you and more doctors or functional medicine nutritionists to actually understand what is happening in your life and how can you change things around, right? So tell me, what are some conditions or where you've helped people get better by just fixing their sleep and managing their stress? Like, what are some major issues that people face with today that can really be healed much better and much faster by just focusing on your sleep and stress in the first phase?
A lot of people majorly come to me with hypothyroid. Okay, that's basically when you start gaining weight. Your metabolism goes slow. Okay, so usually you must have gotten everybody who is not losing weight. They'll be first being told, just go check your thyroid. Go check that is all fine and it's great. Otherwise, that is the problem.
Right.
That is still not the problem. So your hypothyroid can be an effect of a compromised gut, which is inflamed. So I'm going to make it a little more technical. If you want, then you can just tell me. I'll make it more simple for you. So in your thyroid panel, basically what everybody sees is just a TSH. So the minute you see TSH above 5, okay, probably a couple of times, and you're gaining weight and you're feeling tired, fatigued, and blah blah blah, they will tell that you're a hypothyroid. That's how it is diagnosed. Okay, what a lot of people have not diagnosed is there's something called thyroid antibodies. That's called your ATG and TPO. Okay, so these thyroid antibodies can be raised due to a compromised gut causing inflammation, and then these antibodies raised, they're technically banging your thyroid gland. Then the thyroid has got fed up and now it started raising its levels. So if 10 people come to me with hypothyroid and we've done the TPO and ATG test, 8 out of 10 are already with thyroid antibodies, that condition is called Hashimoto. Okay? Right. And that is closely connected to a compromised gut. So the minute I start the healing process from the gut, that's your elimination plan, you're adding the right lifestyle tools, you're adding the right supplements, that's the time where thyroid antibodies come in place, and so does the thyroid come down. And now they will see that desired weight loss, inch loss that they're actually looking for. So in terms of stress and sleep that you mentioned, now what happens is when you already have thyroid antibodies that are high, that's already inflamed the body. Of course, if you're going to sleep lesser, it's going to worsen your state. Of course, if you're going to stress higher, it's going to worsen your state. So again, like I said, you could be on the best diet, the best supplements, but if your lifestyle tools, if you don't sleep well, you don't think well, okay, you are reacting to situations rather than responding, all are going to trigger your Hashimoto. More importantly, what people don't understand is that, see, stress actually is a positive word, okay? When we have deadlines, we have examinations, it's actually supposed to bring out the best about us. But what we've done, we made a stressor villain in our lives rather than a hero. So my point is, can you change your stress story to your success story? There's always a free will. So that's where taking care of your body comes in. So what happens is, if you take care of your gut bacteria, we are more bacterial cells than human cells. We've been outnumbered. You really keep them happy. They're going to keep everything happy around you. You're going to get more resilient to reacting to stress. You will start responding to it, and then all of these inflammatory markers will not go high. So people come, they'll have thyroid antibodies maybe higher. Then for some people, it is your hsCRP that is high, right? Then they say there's inflammation. Then sometimes people come with high ESR because there's inflammation or infection. So there are multiple ways, but we just have to go back to their symptoms and then try understanding their story, how we could change that for them. So your 7 to 8 hours of sleep is imperative. If you don't sleep that much, then you're going to alter your gut microbiome. That basically means inducing inflammation, increasing a lot of stress, biological stress in the body. Plus, because you've not slept at the right time, you're not working at the right time, you have blood sugar irregulation, you have mood swings, then you'll have more cravings.
Right.
You increase your stress levels, okay? Like say for example, if I keep saying I'm sitting and I keep saying that I'm stressed, my body thinks it is stress, that means it has to run for its life.
True.
So increase your blood sugar levels, but maybe I'm not moving, sitting where I am, that blood sugar levels will go high and it'll give you one tire around your stomach. Now you're going to say, shit, I have another stress to have. So you see how you're going one thing to the other thing.
Right.
And everything is bottomed down to inflammation most of the time. We just don't know where the inflammation is coming.
Right, exactly. And that's true, because I've been a fitness trainer and I've had so many female clients who are really hardworking at the gym, right? Like they would show up every day, and I mean, if you check their nutrition, what they've been eating, or have they been eating out, cheating on their meals, or having any junk food, it was just not there. Like they were eating really good food, speaking in general, and working so good at the gym as well. But when it came to asking about their sleep or their stress, these are the two factors they were not being able to really manage as well, and it was really showing up. Like, it would really zero down all of your other efforts if you're doing something more in your life, and if you're not taking care of these two basic things and the basic needs of your body, it will definitely, have a negative impact in your life. And that's so true. And also, respecting the circadian rhythm of the body, because these days a lot of people are having, erratic work shifts, like, working night shifts and random, like, it changes so many times during 1 week. I mean, my father himself also just, is in his late 50s now, and just now these shifts have been made in his company, right? So in 1 week he'll have 3 different shifts randomly. The sleep schedule is really going bad, and you can see how much of an impact it can have on your health literally in just 2 weeks. In just 2 weeks of your sleep schedule getting disturbed can have that impact on you, and just managing that much can also have a better impact, right? So that was well explained. Thank you for sharing that. And today, talking about gut health, of course, now this would be a very generic question, and there would be so many factors to consider about the individual, but in general speaking, what are your non-negotiables when it comes to gut health today?
So number one is what you spoke about, the whole concept of bioindividuality, right? So I think that one diet doesn't fit all. So if two people come to me with two different reasons of inflammation, I can't give you the same diet. They're going to be different. Okay. And for me, food is non-negotiable.
Right.
My simple question to the clients are that, are you going to, when you're sick and you've gone to the doctor, are you going to trade with him because you don't want to take the medication? That's going to help you save your life. I say simply it is food, because food is information to the body. It literally determines the quality of your cells, your tissues, your blood, your organs. The very fact that we are food chemistry kar rahe hain, when we are doing our blood work, how do you know your cholesterol levels are? How do you know you have SGPT or SGOT high? How do you know the ESR is gone high? Right? Everything is related to what you eat, because the most intimate relationship that you share with anybody or anything in the world is your food. It literally goes within you. And how does the food impact your gut? Is that decides that you have a leaky gut or you don't, and that decides the way you look and feel. It's just so food is non-negotiable, and it's completely hands-on, the concept of bioindividuality. The supplements, again, when it comes to, say, for example, if somebody can't evacuate well, I could probably give a supplement like a magnesium citrate. Okay. At the same time, if somebody cannot take a supplement, then we just use simple stuff like ginger, or we use triphala and stuff like that. So again, that is something depending upon what the client is happy with, right? Because, and again, all of the supplements are just for short term. We don't want dependency on anything besides the food. We want food to be our power.
Exactly.
And like you said, it's the lifestyle tools. It is you sleeping well, how you managing your stress, how well do you exercise. You don't overdo it, you don't underdo it. How often do you heal and relax? How much do you actually schedule relaxation? Relaxation doesn't mean going for a movie. It doesn't mean going out partying and drinking all night. You've got to be in the nature. You've got to introspect. You've got to be there, being in the moment. That's relaxation. Bonding with your family. And the most importantly is honoring the act of digestion. Down to eat our food, did we say a prayer? Either the food is nourishing us, or we are sitting and thinking that once I'm done with this food, I have to go and make that call or send that email.
True.
Right? Or then we are passing a restaurant and say, just give me a bag and I'm going to start eating while I'm driving.
Right.
What is the point in being so successful if you can't take care of your health? Because in the end, when you go back in retrospect, if you don't have the best health, you made an empire, but you're sitting at home rather than roaming the world.
True.
So the act of digestion is very important, and this is something which I tell every woman. I think every woman would understand this. So when we eat our food, when we chew our food, okay, that's called mechanical digestion. So if you chew it well, more than half the work of the digestion is done to your stomach. It's called chemical digestion. Then we have no control. And as women, we love controlling the whole world. Technically, if somebody agrees it or not, it's always going to be like that. And if we have the option to control the way we chew, then we're controlling the way our food is going to go within. Because your digestion takes up the maximum energy in a day. We simplify that for ourselves. Why wouldn't we want to feel light after we've eaten our food?
Exactly.
We don't want our food to be sitting in our stomach. We don't want to be uncomfortable. We don't want to be wearing dresses where we don't feel confident about ourselves. So the most important part is the act of digestion.
Of course, understood. And talking about lighter meals, what is your take on fasting in terms of inflammation? Is that something you recommend to any of your patients? Of course, if they don't have other lifestyle conditions like diabetes or something like that, if it's safe to do. What is your take on fasting, and do you use this tool to help your clients as well? Inflammation.
So, example, when I'm putting somebody on an elimination plan, okay, basically what are we doing is trying to calm the system down, and we are not giving. And when you have inflammation, you have infection.
Right.
So not giving the wrong foods that we removed, they are not breathing and they are going to die off and eventually get out in your. Okay, that is one way of doing. The other way of doing is also fasting. So, pura stuff kar. come out in it. Now, what happens is for some people, their body can handle the fast, and for
Right.
some people, they prefer periodic fasting or just an anti-inflammatory diet. So again, concept of bio-individuality. But as a tool, fasting or intermittent fasting or periodic fasting is fantastic. It's just
Right.
how well your body can take it. So
Exactly.
technically, we all are supposed to be able to fast without any repercussions. The fact that if we feel bloated, we get a headache, we feel gassy, we feel all of that basically is telling us there is an imbalance in the body that we need to clean, that we need
Right.
to. But otherwise, we are meant to do this.
Exactly.
So it's very easy for somebody to say, "Oh, I cannot do this because it doesn't work for me." It doesn't work for you because there's an imbalance. That's
Right.
your will. You want to look at it now, or maybe your calling will be after 2 years. But
Exactly.
at some point, you'll have to.
Right. And it's also a matter of getting used to, right? I mean, if you're fasting for the very first time and you jump to like a 16 hours fast because somebody's talking about it and that's the first fast you do, of course, because there's gonna be your body, you've made it, habitual to eat at this point. You've made it a habit to eat 6 times a day, or a habit of a snack, or you think you can't go to bed feeling hungry. And it's just a
Psychological and because.
right.
But again, that's what comes in is meet an expert and take knowledge to learn your body. We are creating body awareness. But if you do something because you saw it on Google, which is just information, or because your best friend was doing it, वो फिर भी information ही है. So how do you know how you will work? Then you will get an aversion towards probably that's the best thing for you to do. And
Of course.
intermittent fasting, all of them also work very well for mitochondrial health.
Hmm.
They're going to give you, say, imagine there's blood going only to your digestion every 2 hours. अब तुमने
Right.
नहीं खाया, it's going to go to different parts of the body. Imagine the amount of healing that's going to happen.
Exactly.
So it's a great tool, but it should be done strategically and smart.
Right, of course. And it's true, it is needed today because earlier, we were not surrounded by so much food and so much decision about food all the time. Like, we are surrounded by 24/7,
Yeah.
You wake up at midnight, you wake up at 1 or 2, you feel hungry because you are awake or something like that. There is food around you. There is decision. There's so much decision fatigue also happening at the same time. And there's no stopping, right? Even if you're at an office, you'll have the vending machine, you'll have the cafeteria, and at a random point of time, you will have coffee. You'll have 5 coffees a day. Then you'll feel like snacking. And it is a mental decision to sort of, use that muscle and make yourself wait a little for the next meal. Have those gaps.
Like you said, that wake up like even at 2 a.m. and you're hungry. My point is just have a makeover. Have a kitchen makeover.
Right.
Processed foods over there, you ensure that there are carrot sticks in the fridge. You ensure there are nuts. Maybe not simple nuts, you roast them by yourselves, you put more salt in it. You do all of those things, but you eat the good food.
Exactly.
You basically make a choice of changing your entire pantry. Even when you're at work, right? I understand that you have those machines where you have dairy stuff. I'm not saying that dairy is completely bad, but it may
Right.
be bad for you right now. But of course, if you have a sedentary lifestyle and then you're working late hours, somewhere the gut microbiome is going to scream. Dairy there, you're just going to scream even more.
Exactly.
So ensure that we have smart brains. Just ensure that you give yourself only that kind of environment that even if you're in a meeting, you still will call the right.
True, exactly. And also something you said earlier about, infection. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I, heard someone talking about this before, that when you're sick, like it's just a viral infection, like you have cough and cold and like that. Our usual tendency is to, our parents will be like, eat food, normal, simple food like dal, khichdi, whatever. But we are constantly eating because if we're sick at home, we are there, food is in front of us, and we want to have some comfort through food, right? So we do end up eating. But I did, hear about this somewhere, someone talking about this, that it's like you're feeding the virus. So, when you're sick and there's like this bad bacteria, or you're suffering through a viral, it's like you're feeding the virus constantly, and maybe fasting a little bit would help better to recover. So is it true? Like, what are your thoughts around it?
100%. See, what happens is there are degrees of how you fall sick, right? For some people, they have a cold and cough and they may not even reach the temperature. When you have temperature and you're not feeling well, it's basically the body is fighting the inflammation. Okay, you're going to look sick, you're going to feel sick. And especially when, most of the elders will say, "Oh, my bacha has fallen sick, let me feeding the virus." You're feeding. I'm not saying if you can't fast, I'm not saying that don't fast. Like, fast.
Right.
What I'm saying is that feed yourself with good food. You don't need to, like, say, for example, people even come to us. They are on an anti-inflammatory diet where they're not taking gluten, they're taking jawar. They're not
Right.
taking white rice, they're taking brown rice. But now because you felt sick, I had gluten and I had white rice. They both are going to add me into inflammation. I'm not saying fast. I'm saying be smart about what you're doing. And then you can do all the home remedies. Like, see, technically when you get a cold and cough, if you keep it for 7 days and you rest, your body has to recover. But
Right.
are we waiting to rest for 7 days?
Not at all. Yeah.
You're done. Take one Azzy, take another paracetamol. I'm done and I cannot be at home, so I'm going to go out. I'm not going back to basics. Now, again, I can't argue with that for a lot of time because there are a lot of professionals who don't have a choice. And
Right.
they have to work. So respect to that. But all I'm saying is where you have the free will to calm your system down, learn to calm it down, let it rejuvenate, let it recover. If it still doesn't happen, then go and meet the doctor, figure it out what you need to do. But
Right.
with that, you should definitely be eating well, resting well, and of course do a lot of the right herbs. As simple as something like ginger and turmeric. Thoda black pepper dal do. You make a
Right.
tea at home. Your kara also that is made of your tulsi leaves and stuff. Right?
Exactly.
Or say for example, you take cold pressed coconut oil and you'll add some haldi in it, ginger in it, and some pepper for better absorption. Or ways that in an olden zamana to yahi tha na.
Right.
Only.
Exactly.
But the thing is now we don't want to do that because we want to have a fast life and we only want to stay home to feel better.
Exactly. I know, and it comes back to us, right? Because if we've if you have had a cold or a cough something and you take one medicine, you find tomorrow, but you will be in the cycle for 2-3 months, especially in the winter now. Because even I've seen my friends and even me sometimes fall sick constantly. Like for 3 months, you've fallen sick like 3 or 4 times, and you're just sick of it already. But you've not taken the time to really let it heal properly for us.
What is the good part that has happened with all our clients? Because we put people come to us for any reason, but we always start the gut cleanse. So
Right.
people who used to get throat aches and cold fever like probably 4 times in a year, now they probably say once in a year. The immunity is getting built up.
Right.
Because what is happening is we're taking care of the inflammation, we're taking care of the infection, we're increasing the digestive agni in the body, and we're
Right.
empowering people कि everything is in your hands. वो तुम कर रहे हो. We are just
Exactly.
the catalyst to help you realize what your body needs.
Of course. Understood. That was beautifully explained. Thank you so much, Karishma ma'am, for being here today. And this was a breath of fresh air. This was an amazing episode and really helps us calm down already listening to this. So I hope this helps our audience as well. And this brings us to the end of the episode today. As we conclude, do you have any last messages or thoughts to leave us with?
Okay, so it's again going to be a very womanly thing. So everybody asks and everybody tells each other what is one gift that you could give your children. Okay, and everybody comes up with with education, with the legacy of whatever they have, the empire they've made.
Right.
When I know one thing that if I have the best gut microbiome, the best gut bacteria, I will pass it on to my daughter. My daughter will pass it on to my grandchild. I think it's high time that we empower ourselves, take care of the gut bacteria, and that's the health that should
True.
actually pass through generations. It's the healing that needs to be passed because anybody can make anything out of their lives. As
Exactly.
long as you are empowered.
Absolutely. That was a powerful message. Definitely. Thank you so much once again, Karishma ma'am, for being here today. And for the ones who'd like to reach out to you, learn from you, consult with you, there'll be links in the description below. They can reach out and follow your journey a lot more closely and learn a lot more from you and your page and everything you talk about. So thank you once again for being here today.
So much for having me. I think I had a ball chatting with you. It was just a conversation.
Amazing. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you. See you. Bye.